So what's going on, guys? My name's Mr. Dalek JD, and in this video I'm going to be bringing you something incredibly cool. This video will contain a full video of quotes from Samuel Stuhlinger and Dr. Edward Richtofen during the Blood of the Dead Easter egg. Now, if you're not aware, during the Easter egg, the player playing as Richtofen will at some points hear dialogue between him and Samuel Stuhlinger. Now, the way to get this has been unknown, but it's finally been solved thanks to YouTube user Retroh USA. And thanks to him and a loyal subscriber on Twitter called @Infamousixxx, who has sent me clips of all the quotes. Today I'm going to be showing you every single dialogue piece between Richtofen and Stuhlinger inside of Blood of the Dead. Now, this also gives a lot more credit to Richtofen's character in Blood of the Dead, as well as where Stuhlinger is at this point in the story. I think you're really going to enjoy this one, so if you guys do enjoy this video, let me know in the comments section. Feel free to discuss anything, and I really advise you guys to watch all the way through, as midway through this video I'm going to bring up a quote specifically, which is a very, very big talking point and a very big focus onto what could happen in the future with these characters due to a specific word that Stuhlinger uses. So stay tuned throughout all the video as much as you can, and if you do enjoy this video, a like rating would be very, very appreciated. Now, I covered this in a video a few days ago talking about the transit crew's fate, talking about some radios we hear in other maps besides Blood of the Dead. Covered the only known conversations at that point between the two of them to help sort of paint what's going on, and how Stuhlinger can even be inside of Richtofen's head. Throughout Black Ops 2, it's always been the complete other way round. Richtofen has always been in Samuel's head telling him what to do. It's now almost vice versa, and he's getting running commentary as this Easter egg is going along. But he explains that the lighthouse has triggered a chain reaction in the ether, which allows Samuel, even though he's in a cryogenic sleep, to be able to communicate via the ether into Richtofen's head. What we learn as well now, thanks to @Infamousixxx for all these clips I'm about to show you, when Richtofen's speaking to Samuel, the other characters can hear Richtofen speaking like as if he's going mad, talking to just an imaginary figure.
The lighthouse. It must have triggered a chain reaction in the ether.
It is you! Whoa, hold the phone! You mean to tell me I'm a voice inside your head now? Oh, ain't that a kick in the dick?
I do not have time for this. Nor the strength.
Time for what, Doc? Who the hell's standing?
Oh no, not at all. In fact, things are much worse now.
And this also puts to bed any theories that anyone had about the other premise crew members knowing any of the transit crew members. Dempsey asks who the hell is Samuel. He doesn't know. I remember back in the day there were so many theories that Misty was Dempsey's daughter or something stupid like that. Just to put that to bed, they don't know who they are besides Richtofen. And the comic also backs that up, because Dempsey also questions who they are in the pods. What's interesting is that Samuel even noticed himself that ever since they switched on the lighthouse, he's been hearing all kinds of weird chatter in this place. He's not been able to make out much, but he can hear the bird. So for all we know down the line, when we do see the Victor's crew again with Stuhlinger, he might actually be able to tell us some of the things that the bird told him, because we now know that that bird is the spirit of the Weasel from Mob of the Dead, which is just so cool. But throughout the Easter egg and the conversations that Richtofen and Samuel have, it seems to be a constant back and forth fight almost, where Samuel comes in with a sarky remark which Richtofen just clearly doesn't need at this moment in time, because Richtofen knows full well what he's about to do. He pretty much knows that what is going to happen at the end of the Easter egg is set in stone, just going to happen, and there's no way to avoid it. We find this out through one of the most human, personal conversations between the two once Richtofen is locked inside of the jail cell. Now, I want to thank Retroh USA for this next clip, because I believe this is the first time anyone's ever seen this before, and it is really, really cool. So let's roll the clip.
Fucking Jeremiah, you're alive! Oh, woo! Man, do you have any idea how scary it is? Huh? Thinking you're gonna be stuck in a box with your own thoughts forever?
Yes, Samuel. I'm afraid I do.
Now this is really sad because after all of the sarky remarks that Samuel makes during the quest, Richtofen goes completely silent on him. He doesn't communicate with him anymore. Samuel doesn't really make any attempt to communicate either. So for all they know, between the last steps of you finishing the final challenge and you actually being locked inside the jail cell, Samuel thinks that Richtofen's left him for good and that he's going to die alone. And he comments saying, "Do you have any idea how scary it is? Thinking you're going to be stuck in a box with your own thoughts forever?" What's even sadder is Richtofen replies going, "Yes, Samuel, I'm afraid I do." They're both in the same situation. They're completely alone, and Richtofen knows what he's about to do, and so it's incredibly sad. It seems Samuel as well is the only character from the Victor's crew that is able to use the ether to be able to talk directly to other people. So Stuhlinger is completely alone. He can't talk to any of the other characters. He can't talk to any of the other Victor's crew. It's just him on his own, and he knows that his body is stuck in a box. Like, Stuhlinger is actually almost on the brink of going insane at that part before he gets reassured that Richtofen is there and that he can still communicate with him. But what's even crazier is it seems Stuhlinger was also aware that the Primus Richtofen from post-Revelations was always in that cryopod, as he makes this comment right here.
The thawing sequence has begun. We cannot wait here. We must finish what we have started and confront our fate above.
What about the lights? Huh? Okay, I'm helping you out, buddy. No, you're gonna defrost that.
Samuel, if we succeed, you will be safe. Please, trust me. No! And keep quiet.
As you heard there, Richtofen replies, "If we succeed, you will be safe. Please trust me and keep quiet." It seems at this point, Richtofen knows exactly what he has to do. Obviously, he knows what he has to do because he knows the dark mechanism is what is going to make this cryopod completely defrost and bring out his alternative self in order to save everyone. So what is incredible is when Richtofen goes and sacrifices himself, Samuel realizes what is about to happen and almost tries to stop him. But this Richtofen sacrifices even more than we initially realized. He sacrifices himself so that his Primus crew comrades can leave Alcatraz because his blood contains so much 115 from all the different realities he's been to that it will actually power portals for them to leave, but it will also save the Victor's crew because he says, "Samuel, if we succeed, you will be safe." He knows that he's going to succeed, and he knows that by doing this, he's going to also save the Victor's crew. It just makes the ending even more sad. And as we now know from this quote, it's obvious that by doing this, it's also saved the Victor's crew. So we assume what could happen is the pods could have defrosted and the crew could leave, or there'd be an alternative where perhaps the Richtofen that we saw in the intro teleports back in and brings them for something else, teleports them away somewhere, or it could be an explanation which we won't really understand until the future, and that's probably the right answer because Treyarch are just gonna mind blow us somehow. Now, when you get this quote from completing the escort mission that involves you taking the spirit from the infirmary to the docks, you get this, which at first I got very excited, but I read in between the lines wrong. Richtofen comments when Stuhlinger asks, "Why can't you guys be as nice to me as you were to him?" And Richtofen goes, "Oh, would your immortal soul be somehow able to activate the warden's mechanism? Because if it is, I will happily toss your pod into the bay." Now, I read this as Richtofen commenting on Stuhlinger having an immortal soul, but of course, that's not what he's implying. He's implying on the spirit that we guided from the infirmary to the docks having an immortal soul. But he also comments as well, specifically, that we didn't know this before, that this whole machine that Richtofen puts himself into at the end is a mechanism designed by the warden. Like, can we just take a minute just to go, whoa? Because I covered in a video a few days ago how in Richtofen's lab, when you spawn in, you have a chalkboard which contains diagrams of different parts of the machine and how it works, such as the huge sort of vials of blood that get filled up, as well as the mechanism sort of teleporting orb, which is powered by the essence of dead souls in order to power it. But it also, that quote makes you realize that, yeah, you're also sacrificing several lives of spirits in Alcatraz as well to help power this ultimate mechanism, which we don't really know what its true purpose was for, because I originally thought this was Richtofen's design, because the designs are in his lab. It would make sense for him to have created this. A separate Richtofen in a alternate timeline realizes that in order to stop a future Richtofen from, you know, failing to break the cycle, just kill the Richtofen there and then by making this mechanism and making it so in order for the entirety of that pocket dimension to stop existing is for a Richtofen to sacrifice himself so that the events of Gorod and Rev don't happen, so they can't fail against Dr. Monty. It's just all a bit crazy. And also at the end, the very end of the Easter egg, before Richtofen puts himself in the dark mechanism and we suddenly get post-revelations Richtofen coming out of that cryopod, we get the last and final Samuel Stuhlinger quote on the map, which is really, really sad. And I'm going to play it for you now.
I do the right thing. Stand back, you imbeciles! You want mine blood. Take mine blood!
Wait, what? You can't mean...
Goodbye, Samuel.
Oh, just hearing him say goodbye, Samuel, in that tone is just so sad. But the main thing to note here is that Samuel also makes a comment like as if he knows what's about to happen because, wait, you can't mean, and then gets cut off by Richtofen. There is a lot to go through here. Now, I've played you some of the quotes, and the main story quotes come after you've activated the lighthouse, you're getting the chronorium for the first time from the last bird, and when you're about to go into the boss fight and finish the boss. But there's also 5 more quotes which happen after each challenge, which I'm going to play for you guys now to finish off the video so you guys can hear every single Richtofen and Samuel Stuhlinger conversation. It's pretty awesome. I want to give big thanks again to Infamousixxx on Twitter for sending me over each of the 5 challenge conversations that happened. And again, a massive, massive thank you to Retroh USA for the main story conversations that happen. You can find links down below in the description to both of those guys and their socials. Go hit them up and say thank you, because without them, this video wouldn't be here and we wouldn't have this amazing story to dive into. But if you enjoyed the video, a like rating would be very much appreciated if it blew your mind in any way. For more content like this, there's always that subscribe button and turning on those notifications. Samuel's going to play this one out. Samuel, take away the banter between you and Richtofen.
12,042 bottles of beer on the wall. 12,042 bottles of beer. You take one down, you pass it around. 12,041 bottles of beer on the wall.
Samuel?
Ah! Who in the fuck? Is that you?
This is an Element 115 based illusion. You are in cryostasis back in the lab. How could you... The lighthouse. It must have triggered a chain reaction in the ether.
It is you! Whoa, hold the phone. You mean to tell me I'm a voice inside your head now? Oh, ain't that a kick in the dick?
I do not have time for this. Nor the strength.
Time for what, Doc? Who the hell's standing? Okay.
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, things are much worse than a personal interest.
The book is gone!
Nervous breakdown. Can nothing ever be simple?
Yeah, that's a shame. He doesn't trust you guys.
And what exactly would you know about it, Samuel?
Jeez, touchy. Ever since you guys switched on the lighthouse, I've been hearing all kinds of freaky, geeky chatter in this place. Haven't been able to make out much. That little bird. Things are pretty loud.
Brilliant, Samuel. I was unaware you were fluent in Seagull. Give me that logic-forsaken book. At long last, something goes according to plan. Reason with a phantom seagull. I suspect your brain may still be partially frozen.
R.E.R. Whose fault is that anyway, huh? You said you stuck me in this tube to keep me safe, but now I'm thinking you did it just to shut me up.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe his brain is beginning to thaw. If I had 3 men just like him, we would have been finished with this mechanism business, through with that bastard warden, or drinking schnapps in the lab.
Hey, buddy, remember when I used to, like, pull levers, jump through portals, and get fancy books for you? Yeah, I could still do all that stuff, man.
9, you can't, Samuel. You are frozen in ein pod in mein lab. Just accept it.
Attaboy, Ed! Wait till you that food stabbing so-and-so a dose of industrial homicide!
Refer to me as Ed again, Sammy, and I will press the pulse button on your cryopod repeatedly.
We need to get out of here.
Oh, man, that was beautiful! You guys, what you did for that man, I wish you were half as nice to me!
Oh, would your immortal soul be somehow able to activate the warden's mechanism? Because if it is, I will happily toss your pod into the bay.
Oh, encore! Fuck yeah, Richtofen! Oh, man, you guys should start a band.
Of all your idiotic suggestions, Samuel, that one is the least offensive.